welcome to Podcast versus Player, episode 273. I'm one of your hosts, Cal, and as always, I'm joined by a man who asked me what's the difference between Facebook creator Mark Zuckerberg and Jean-Luc Picard. Picard didn't sell data. It's true.
Yeah, I mean, I can't knock that. It's a solid joke.
It's only bloody Dan. Have we both frozen?
No.
How are you little prankster?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Pranking good, as Ashton Kutcher would say.
Speaking, Punked. That was that show. The Little Devil. Not fun fact. I don't know why I was going to say that. Did you see April Fool's Day stuff? As in video game related stuff.
It's the 3rd of April. No, I didn't. I didn't see anything at all.
Well, Nintendo released a video for the new Virtua Boy, which is it's basically an attachment that you put on your Switch and strap your Switch to your face.
No way.
And it was a very funny advert.
That's pretty good.
But they did it in
I like the fact that a company could take the piss out of their own peripherals. It's like, what were we thinking? Bloody hell.
In all fairness, I know it wouldn't have come out on any other day, but if it had been any other day, I could have believed it. Like, it was very well done.
With the whole, they do like a mini NES and a mini Mega Drive, and they go, fuck it, just do another Virtua Boy. Strap your Switch to your face, Virtua Boy 2. Bang.
It was
the
quite
same
funny.
12 games that came out for it ever.
Well, I assume it was the woman's husband or something, but he's like shouting at her because she hasn't like done the dishes or something stupid. But then when she puts it on, it turns into Mr. Thingy, Tom Nook from Animal Crossing, just going, no.
I haven't seen this.
It's really
awesome.
funny, yeah. And she's in a car, and then she looks to the side, and Luigi's there, like staring at her, and then she's like, and then crashes. It's very funny. But there was a handful of some. That was probably the best one of the lot. But the game I told you to download, but you just missed it, that was part of an April Fool's thing. It wasn't a prank. It was just they went, rather than do something stupid, have a game for free. Apparently they do something every April 1st is always something different, and this time they gave a game away.
What, Steam?
No, it was the people that made content warning. The developers of it, but in doing so, their player base went up from like something that was like reasonably good to like 200 million or something stupid.
Yeah, I'm
like
pretty
that.
sure when I was looking at something on Steam when I got home, and I think it was on like their top sellers list or something like that. It's on the featured page anyway. So you give a game away for 6 hours or whatever it was, because by the time I got home from work, it had already finished, because it was literally the first thing I did when I sat down. So I don't know when it was started, but presumably it was like a 12 hour
24 hours. But I only saw it when I sent it to you. That's when I saw it.
Right, and that was unfortunately when I was at work.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I was, but I've got the Steam app on my phone, so I just added it to the library from there. So I suggest you do that. You get that up and running for future ones. But it looks funny enough, Dan. I think I might just buy it because it looks very fun.
Right.
It's I don't know if you did look into anything of it, but that game that everyone loves at the moment, Lethal Company.
Yeah, it's the new Gang Beasts, not Gang Beasts, the new fucking, what's the Fall Guys?
Kind of, yeah.
It's like a thing that everyone goes bananas for, everyone streams it, and then 2 months later, no one's touched it. I mean, to be fair, Lethal Company's kept its player base for I think it's for the duration of however long it's been out, it's stayed very high. But effectively in that is obviously you go to different planets trying to get different things to like salvage and get money for working for the company, and the aliens and stuff pop up here and there. This is kind of the same, but you have to go to places and film each other doing silly things to make content. It looks very funny. Sounds pretty true to life, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's what drew me to it. But it looks pretty good, and it was kind of free, so there's that. This week's episode of the PvP podcast is brought to you by our two sponsors, CrowVi and Nomvdic. CrowVi's VF156T 15.6-inch portable touch display is an excellent addition to any setup, whether stationary or on the go. From build quality to the fantastic screen, the included smart case and all the cables, the VF156T is a brilliant portable touchscreen monitor, and for an incredibly affordable price. Whether it's a second screen for your PC or laptop, turning a mobile into a mini PC, or simply using it for gaming, the 15.6-inch IPS display is gorgeous, and the touchscreen works flawlessly to ensure you have a fantastic experience, with clear viewing angles, crisp display, plus it comes with all the connection cables you'll need, as well as a smart case that doubles up as a stand. Check out more via the link in the description. This week's episode of the PvP podcast is brought to you by Nomvdic and their R150 Portable Projector. The R150 is a premium looking and feeling projector, but weighs only 720 grams, and it comes complete with a carry case, so you can safely put it in your bag and take it with you. Plus, the 4800 mAh battery will ensure you can use it on the go. It includes custom speakers made by industry veterans Harman Kardon, and it has its own built-in app store with media apps like Netflix and Disney+. You can also stream your iOS or Android device straight to it, letting you watch content up to 100 inches. Check out our full review at podcastversusplayer.com. But Dan, bigger, fatter, juicy news than all of that combined. You can take your virtual boys and your free games.
If as long as it's not April Fool's nulls.
Nulls? No, there's definitely no nulls.
Good. If it's true nulls, then I want to hear about it.
Yeah, it's full juicy nulls. Saber Interactive CEO says...
I know them.
You do?
Why do I know them?
You should know them. Very important to us.
Saber. Oh, no.
You do know them, Dan. For a very important reason.
God damn it. All I can think of now is, what's it, Cyban?
Cyban? I'm not sure of.
Who is it that makes, it's like Power Rangers games or whatever?
Saban.
That's what I'm thinking of.
No, it's definitely not that. These are the people, Dan, who are making the Knights of the Republic remake.
Oh, right. Or were, and then they were put on hiatus.
Nah, so the CEO's come out and said the remake is alive and well. So obviously this was announced in 2021. The long-awaited remake has changed hands multiple times, seemingly stopping development, restarting again, etc., etc. And after 6 years of development is yet to manifest. Fortunately, we have a final, real, concrete update on what's going on. Saber Interactive is still working on it, and according to CEO, is alive and well. That CEO being Matthew Karch. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how it's spelled. He confirmed the company took Knights of the Republic with it during its split from the Embracer Group, and that the game is still in active development. However, we've still got no release date. So,
no, it's at this point, if they're not talking about, it's going to be released within the next couple of years, whatever. It's well and truly in its developmental stage.
I mean, I don't know.
We're never going to see anything about this in the next couple of years.
I'd like to think this isn't me shitting on game development or anything like that. It's an incredibly hard and complex job and everything else. But if the game's already made, and I assume you've already got an engine that you're going to be building the game on, you just got to remake it, haven't you?
Yeah.
Or the hard.
It's from the ground up. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that's it's not as easy as just going, well, it's already made, make it look pretty. Like they've got to do everything. They've got to build all the assets, do all the sounds and everything else. But
I mean, luckily you don't have to rewrite the story, so you don't have to come up with anything new. But it's all the difficult stuff. Well, that's not say that again. That's not difficult, but to me, for my brain anyway, it would be easier to write a story and a script and characters, and that would be a fun part.
Yeah.
Whereas, meticulously, crafting landscapes and vehicles, and whilst I'm sure it's probably way more rewarding because you'd be like, yeah, look, I made that, and that's going to be in there forever. That's so cool. I wouldn't even begin to know where to start with something like that.
I ain't got a scope. I mean, obviously we're not game developers or designers or anything like that, but like you say, I think the fun bit is coming up with that that idea and then seeing it manifest. Like, as good as this, hopefully this is amazing, but it's always going to be compared to the original. Whereas
all it has to do is just look better.
Yeah, just be the same game, just look better. Better controls, better graphics.
500 new force powers or anything like that. There's already plenty in there. If anything, there's already kind of too many in there because most of them don't get used. The one thing that they will change that will annoy me is the combat system.
I don't know.
And that will wind me up.
What do you reckon it's going to lean more towards, like Fallen Order or something? In that Final Fantasy way?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah. So instead of going sort of like, you could pause time and have a think about it. You go, well, I can drain life and then attack this guy, and then I can throw a grenade over here, and then I can do this. I get the feeling it would be a lot more. It's just hit X to swing your lightsaber or whatever. I hope that's not the case, and I hope that they keep it true to form.
I don't think they will.
It certainly wouldn't surprise me if they changed it all.
I don't think they'll change it based on it's not a proper. It was never a turn-based game. It had the elements to it, but even back then, you could play the game by just spamming X or square or circle or whatever. It's still stacked them up, and you perform those moves in the order that you did it. But it kind of played out in real time. Yeah. But you could pause it, and you could take your time and think about things and everything else. So they've got no reason to change it because you can play
switch between characters.
Yeah, but you can still do all that playing it however if you want to play it as more of a strategy combat game, you can play it that way. But you can also play it without doing any of that, and you could do that in the original.
I think it would be harder to make it in the way that it was than it would be to just have like swing, block, swing. I think that is because it's so much more common these days. It's probably what people are more likely to work with and be used to. And also that means that you'd be digging up an antiquated combat system. Like, there's nothing wrong with like how Jedi Survivor works, other than you're hitting someone with a lightsaber 500 times and they don't die immediately. Other than that, it's pretty solid. Like, there's not really much that you can do wrong with it. It's pretty good, And like the saber combat in like Battlefront. Unless you're going up against a hero, it is just they're dead. That you can just sort of carve through an entire team. If you sort of get a Jedi or a Sith early on, and that works really well as well. And you kind of feel the oh god, thank God I'm not like crouching behind things. I've got like 40 gadgets to try and keep me alive. Block everything and just reflect it back at them, and it just kills them all. Yeah. Like that kind of stuff is really good. But there was still like, because there was so much sort of like progression in terms of like, even when you were fighting like a Sith or a Jedi, a lot of it was sort of like you're doing a normal attack, and because it's sort of doing like the D&D rolls in the background, so you've got like your own character stat modifiers.
Yeah, like variables and stuff.
Yeah, so like you get like a +2 on this lightsaber, but their defense is higher, so when you swing, they block it. Yeah. And then when you do a heavy attack, if it's enough to get past, then it'll hit, and that's what chips their life down like quite a lot. As long as you're landing hits, you can get through them pretty quickly. You're not carving away at them like an old turkey. I think it would be harder for them to do that, and like most people would just be sort of like, God, what are you doing this? Just do what, like it's the same with any sort of like open world action fighting game. Just do what they did with Arkham City and Arkham Knight and Arkham Asylum. Just do that. They nailed it. Just do that forever. That's your bar now. I think it would be a step backwards to do it. It would. But I would feel that it would be breaking half of what I enjoyed about it.
I mean,
because you could plan your moves out, and then you could switch to one of your companions, and then plan their next few moves out, and then switch to the other one and plan their next few moves out. Yeah. And then when you sort of restart time, everybody does everything at the same time. And whilst I'm still not super, I'm much more used to it, like the combat in Final Fantasy VII remake, the remaster, whatever.
The new one.
No, not the new one.
The new entries.
The new-ish one. Yeah. Like, you know, being able to sort of like, you can pause time and kind of like flick to Tifa or whatever, and then kind of cue something up. It's not quite the same, but there's some element of it it's obviously it's nowhere near the same as the turn-based thing from the originals. But that, as like the combat system or the method that they use for this remake, where you can just sort of kind of flip, you know, sort of like you can just sort of like press a button and everything pauses. And then you've got like shortcuts for like, okay, well that's the shortcut for you do a support move. And like you can like, and again, you could do it in the originals anyway, but you can like not program, but you set their, what do you want to do? Do you want to keep them out of the way and they'll snipe in? Or if it's Kreia, say, do you want them to just do heals on everyone and just do buffs and heals? Like you can kind of preset all of that so you don't need to keep on switching back and doing stuff. If you can do that and it looks as good as something like Final Fantasy VII, that would be fine. But I just don't believe that they can make a game that looks like that would be 60 hours. Like it would be the full run. I just don't think they could do it.
If they're going to change something, I'd rather they change the combat than the story, the characters, and everything.
Yeah, both of them. Yeah,
that's the one thing I think I could get over it quicker. But if they come in and it turns out, hey, it wasn't Darth Revan at all. It's like, you've changed too much already. But again, I don't know. I know with Final Fantasy, I'm not even going to try and remember the lead guys on the teams, but they'd already, like, when Kingdom Hearts came out, they'd said that's the combat that they wanted for 7 and 8 and stuff, but obviously technical limitations, they couldn't, which is why they did turn-based. And I would assume maybe that was the same kind of thing with Carter, where...
Maybe, but the thing is, like, there's still RPGs that are made now that still follow that same turn-based
because it got a gathering, got a following.
No, I mean, today they still make them. Because
that's what I mean, yeah, people like it.
It still works, it still holds up, but it's not something that's just a limitation of the technology or the developer's skill, which is definitely not the case. But in some instances, it probably is. It's like, is it easier to program like 500 slight variations of the same fight animation to like have like this cool swinging kicking, or is it easier to just go, hiya, and then back minus 46 life or whatever?
Yeah,
that's way easier.
Yeah.
Again, comparatively, I mean, it's not easy at all, but
no, just compared to that all-out fighting system
but it's like
else.
What they had in the Knights of the Old Republic was kind of a mixture of the two.
Yeah.
So you could still sort of like, you know, plan a couple of moves ahead, but it felt fluid enough. Like you didn't have to do anything; you could just let them crack on, and they would just chop each other away. But half the fun was like, it was having like sort of like synchronized attacks. So, you know, you'd be throwing a grenade and you'd be electrocuting them, and then you'd be doing a force push, and it sort of just does everything in one big go. And that was just really cool. And like, again, with the more powerful you became, and you started some shit in a town, and you know the sort of the general bods, they're not as tough as like your soldiers that you would have dealt with. And you can just carve through them like they're nothing. You just force blast, everybody's dead, move on. Force drain, everybody's dead, move on. Like, it was, you felt the growth. Like you say, that I would want to keep. And if you've lost that and you're like Cal, and you got force push and force pull, and you can jump, some powers. That's about it though, and it's just sort of variations of that. Then you are kind of missing a trick for like leveling up with like the RPG side of it, which is the part that I enjoyed the most, which was like building your own personal Jedi or Sith, and then, you know, exploring that same world. I
think that's the difference though with something like Fallen Order and Survivor, is you can't not necessarily forgive, but it's okay that Cal hasn't got loads of powers and stuff, because everything is so invested and based around that story, and it's Cal's journey and everything, and the powers are really kind of like on the back seat in that game. It's about everything else going on rather than
to a degree. Yeah, it's more platformy rather than
it's. No, go on.
No. I think you're right. I think again, I don't really want to kind of just keep on comparing it to D&D, but a lot of the combat system seems to be based around those same kind of rules. You know, there's, you've got this incredible like powers list, and like you can put points into it, and you can upgrade it, and you can have, so you've got more force powers or more heal powers or whatever. Yeah. But it's a spell book. Like if you're a sorcerer in D&D, you've got your spells, and then there's like different levels and different this is a level 3 one. It's the same ability as your level 1, but it's got 6 times the amount of damage or whatever it is. Yeah. It's exactly the same kind of theory. Yeah. And that's why it works really well. And something like Fallen Order doesn't have that because it doesn't it doesn't need to. Like you pick someone up and you throw them against a wall. There's not like an enhanced version of that, is there? There's just
you just get it as you go.
Yeah, but like you can upgrade it to like, so instead of like being able to lift 1 dude, you could lift 3, or you could lift a big heavy thing. Yeah. But it was never like drain the life. Again, that's more of a Sith power more than anything. But like drain all the life force out of people.
Even the light side powers in Carter, there's a far vast like choice in that than there is in a game like you don't really get to choose. Like you unlock this ability, and then you can use points to. Oh, now you can do this. It's the same ability. It's the same ability. It's just either got a slight variation on it, or it's just improved it to like the lifting or whatever. Like you say, starts off you can lift 1 person. By the end you can lift 10 people at a 80-80. But it's still the same power. It's just better. But I say we don't know it. All we've literally got is that reveal tease of Revan igniting his saber,
which is nothing.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, we could have made that in the 6 years it's taken to get here.
It still would have looked as good, but yes, we could have probably pulled it off.
Worse news though, Dan. Oh boy, howdy! There's a new Matrix movie in the works. And before you get on your high horse, Dan, I just want to remind you that this is bad news.
What high horse would this be?
I'm joking. None of the Wachowski sisters neither of them are directing it.
So Warner Brothers just said, we don't trust you with this property anymore. We'll get someone else to do it.
Lana is executive producer. But it's
didn't Lana direct Resurrections? Was it Lana?
I'm not sure. It was Lana or Lily, one or the other. One of them did, and the other one didn't.
Yeah, because I think it was Lana, because I think Lily didn't come back.
But this will be the first Matrix film not to have a Wachowski in the director chair.
It was Lana.
Yeah.
So no. When was the last time you watched Resurrection?
I watched it once when it came out, and I will not watch it again.
I've watched it twice, maybe 3 times now, because it popped up on Amazon Prime, I think, like Prime Video, and I was watching it again because I'd watched it in the cinema. I came out of it just sort of like, I don't really know what I expected, but I don't think it was that.
I expected more. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was too sort of meta and kind of too self-referential, but like there was things within that world or that sort of movie, and I'm sure we would have talked about this when we both watched it.
Yeah,
but like the sort of the humans and the programs like kind of working together and making this new city, and there's still these sort of like outliers, like all of that sort of stuff that's going on in the real world. That was really kind of interesting, and like going, well, Neo, yeah, we did bring him back, but we've been using him as like we've just been sort of like keeping him like ticking over in this like weird. He's made the Matrix in the Matrix, and then like his character has come to like. There's a lot of that where it's just sort of like, you didn't need to do this, really, did you?
The way you explained it is how they explain it.
Yeah.
I did not like it.
Like, they didn't need to, like, if you've got Neo and you've got Trinity and you've got their relationship kind of like growing back, like they're sort of like linking back together,
finding each other.
Yeah, that would be great. But then you've got a new Morpheus, and then you've got a new Agent Smith, and then you've got a new Architect. It's like you don't need to cover this old ground, I guess.
I mean,
like the universe that you've built it's more interesting.
Yeah.
Than what I saw. But like there's like having Jada Pinkett Smith come back as Niobe is like an older General Niobe. Good call. The new crew was for the most part okay, but again they didn't really have a huge amount to do. But the spectacle of it, like like you might not be able to remember every single line in any of the Matrix films, but I bet you can remember every fucking fight in them.
Majority of them, yeah, 100%.
And like I remember in Resurrections, there's the sort of like the weird remake thing with like new Trinity, who's just sort of like doing all the stuff from the Matrix games, even though it looks exactly like the movies, whatever. But like there's him fighting Agent Smith. There's like a million people that are all trying to like get them when they're on the bike. They're all like throwing themselves off the buildings and stuff. That was kind of cool. And then there's Morpheus and Neo fighting in that dojo.
Yeah.
But again, like maybe it's just because I've seen like the original Matrix and the other Matrixes so many times that like every fucking punch is like burnt into my brain forever.
I think it's
there wasn't anything special about it, in my personal opinion. Anyway,
the only thing that I liked about the last one is visually it's one of the better looking ones because it's the newest one.
Yeah,
but the Matrix seems like, for me personally, I love the Matrix. Like the first Matrix is definitely in my top favorite films of all time. Not out of the top, but one of. And I never cared for any of the sequels. I don't think any of them are anywhere near as good as the first one, but all three are better than the new one. But
yeah,
the Matrix, for me personally, it feels like you can put it in the same category as like Terminator or Aliens, where it's a staple of that era, and you go, this is the best thing that's been made in cinema up to this point. And I don't think you can replicate that again with another Matrix film.
Well, look at the Lord of the Rings. So, like, the Lord of the Rings, like Fellowship and Return and
I've
Tower.
never watched them.
No, but you're still aware of the phenomenal feat
the
that
cultural
it took
impact.
The insane amount of impact, that kind of came from that. And they were all sort of, I mean, it's kind of what broke Peter Jackson almost, but, they were kind of like made and produced and filmed in a sort of a reasonably kind of short period of time, given how immense they were. And you had The Matrix that came out in 1999, and I think, so they filmed Reloaded and Revolution, I think it is, they were filmed back to back, because they literally one ends and it picks up almost immediately at the start, and then that was in like 2003, 2004 or something. So when they did the Lord of the Rings, obviously again that was that sort of, it was like a block in sort of like the early 2000s, and then like 10 years later they did The Hobbit, and it just doesn't feel the same. It just, there's something about it. It's like, it is the way it's been shot, but it feels like they're just trying to capitalize on.
It doesn't feel
brand. New. Well, no, but again, it's just not exciting. It's not interesting. It's not the same people that you're already familiar with. Which is ironic though, because like when you go, well, if you look at the Terminator franchise, they keep on getting Linda Hamilton, they keep on getting Arnold Schwarzenegger. So you've still got that same kind of link to the films from 40 years ago, but they still can't nail it down again.
Again, I don't know what it is with the turn. Like, I don't think it's fundamentally, you're very limited what you can do. You have him in the first one, he's a bad guy. And then the second one, he's the good guy. Well, we've mixed it up as much as we can, guys. So.
now it's a female one.
Yeah.
Now it's a hybrid, and now it's just sort of like you're trying to think of the different thing, and then work backwards. Like you're not looking at where could this end this story, where can this go, or like in Genesis, which is I think like Salvation was trying to do something, and it was kind of its own thing, but it's still a bit boring, and it's just not very interesting. But Genesis was just fucking
best looking one though.
No, I still think
no, it's
Dark
definitely
Fate
not.
No, like there's a lot in it of just sort of like it's the same. It's like the other ones that you know, but it's all different now. It's Sarah Connor who's the cool one. But it's still kind of just a bit shit.
It is, but again, I think. Like, if you took Genesis, and Genesis was the first one, that would be really good. Because we haven't had anything like that before, and it's like, this is cool, and blah, blah. And then, might not be the same thing if then Terminator 2 came out when Genesis did. That'd still be the best one, because it's my favourite one. But it's them taking a franchise, and then not doing anything but make it like it's like just like trying to like retain the rights to something. There's no, you can tell with the first Matrix film it was a case of I just want to
we don't know if we're gonna get one of these
let's just make the best possible film we can, push the boundaries of what's been done technologically in cinema, and rip off Ghost in the Shell and like just make an entertaining really cool movie. And that's what they did, and they went, this is brilliant, Warner Brothers gave us loads of money, should we do something different? Nah. Let's just make the same films again and again. And that's, I don't know what it is with, it could just be people being too protective over properties, like because of how much we like The Matrix, we're never going to like any new ones as much, just because of how beloved the first one is. Which isn't strictly true, because I prefer Terminator 2 to Terminator 1. But...
and Aliens to Alien.
Yes, yeah.
And RoboCop 3 to RoboCop.
No. But that's another one, though. How different can you make that?
Well, they did. They tried it. They fucked it up.
That's what I'm saying. You can't. Leave it at that one and just let it be.
But they, like, with the... Resurrections, it ended with both Neo and Trinity being the one.
Yeah.
And again, like, the first one ended with Neo. He's a Jesus now, and he can fly and he can stop bullets, and anything that the machines could throw at him is irrelevant. Now we've got two of them. To do what? Like the war is still over, really, isn't it?
And even if it's not, who's gonna like the machines aren't gonna be able to beat them?
Well, they tried, and we had to broker a peace and just be like, "I will stop fucking you over," and fanning around with your power source, and we call a truce or whatever. And they've got sort of like a tenuous at best, but it is a piece
still ongoing.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's probably been about a year or so since I've probably watched it.
When it came out, so I can't even remember when it came out.
No, but I need to go back again. But it's like I say, the only thing that I think I couldn't enjoy in it is just that there was nothing special about it. There was nothing spectacular. Not that there needs to be, and you don't need to, go, how do we revolutionise?
I think they do, though. Because it's The Matrix.
But it's always been, because it wasn't just, like, the reason that they came up with bullet time, because it was, they had to literally build the sets in order to create that effect. But they haven't built the film around the effect. That's just something they just went, we didn't have to do this. He could have just dodged a bullet, and we could have just had him go, woo. with one camera.
I mean, John Woo was doing it before The Matrix, but I know what you mean, though.
Yeah,
but
I don't think that you need to build a new way of filming things.
Oh no! I don't mean that. I just mean like it's got to be something that makes you go wow. Whether that's story, visual effects, like whatever it is, there's got to be a wow factor. And the first one had it, but none of the others have had it. For me personally, none of the others I haven't had a wow factor.
I disagree. I think that like not to the same impact of like I've watched the original Matrix like easily 100 times or so.
Yeah.
But with the other ones like the robot, like the mechs, like were again they're not sort of like completely wholly original ideas. These sort of giant robots or whatever, but. That was great, and then like the war in Zion, there's like all these things. There's like a million billion squids all flying around, whilst there's another fight that's going on in the Matrix. That's like that's really interesting to me, and that's really cool. But then in this, it's Neil Patrick Harris just sort of trying to keep Keanu Reeves in a weird mental prison of his own making.
I like the idea of his character. I don't like the execution of it and the story elements too, but I like the idea of a character like that. And I like Neil Patrick Harris as well. I thought he was.
Oh, he's very. No, again, I don't think no one turned in a bad performance. It's just that you're just getting someone who's pretending to be Agent Smith.
Yeah, don't effectively. Yeah.
Just have another agent, or there's another rogue program or whatever. And then they go. Well,
I was going to say, was there a reason he never came back?
I don't know. Like Hugo Weaving, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like Lawrence Fishburne, they never even asked him.
No, I think that was down to the fact that obviously they knew they were going to go for a younger one. But I'd have at least got him back for, I don't know, just so he's in the movie. And then you go off and use the newer, younger one after that. But you're getting everyone else back. So
yeah,
it's not like he was a throwaway character.
I don't know. Like there's a statue of Lawrence Fishburne, but that's it. And then so they got Niobe, they've got Trinity, they've got Neo. They've got the Merovingian, like the same dude who played the Merovingian. He's back as a raggedy old bitch. Oh yeah, that's another thing they do. They sort of like he's fighting with like a few other, but again he hasn't got his Neo power. So like that fight when. In Reloaded, I think it is the second one where he's with the Merovingian, and it's just like, oh, just shoot him. He's just a man, and then they shoot 1,000 bullets at him, and he just stops them all, and then just drops him, and he's like, well, okay, he's pretty good, I guess. And then they have that amazing fight, and it's like one of them versus like all these like super programs, and he just kicks the shit out of all of them. And then it goes straight into like a 20-minute car chase. Like that's spectacular.
Yeah.
Like that's like they built like a mile of motorway, whatever it was, to have like these like cool like car like there's agents sort of like trying to fight them on top of the thing, and then like he comes flying in and like snatches like all of that is just so cool. Like there's nothing in it. It's trying to build on nostalgia that it's not 40 years later.
That's a good point, yeah.
Where you go, oh my god, the hotel from the first one. Oh, that's so cool. It's just like it's almost like they went, we've still got the sets, so we'll still use the same dojo and we'll still use the same hotel and all this sort of stuff. And it's just like you kind of tying stuff together. It's only been 3 movies. This isn't a Bond franchise when you've had 25 of them, and then there's a reference to someone with a knife in their shoe, and you're like, like that thing from that fucking movie 60 years ago. No way.
That's the thing with like because of all the threads that have been sewn for like the Marvel, like for the MCU, where you can go in 12 movies time. This is that thing that we mentioned, like in a few movies ago. You go, oh yeah, I know what you're on about now. Now that makes sense. But unless you're Zoe and who'd never seen The Matrix, so before we watched the new one, made sure that we sat down and watched the original trilogy. So by the time we watched the new one, everything's still fresh in Zoe's head. There was stuff in there that she go, what's that? I go, I fucking know, because I don't remember. But it's I think it's a bad example of nostalgia. I think you hit the nail on the head with that, where because of how popular it is, they expect people to have this feeling that they've probably got because they made it and they created the world and they've got obviously a lot of love for it, but we don't have that feeling.
No,
and it's
after
not cool.
The critical response, I would have assumed that they'd be like, well, we took a risk on it and we'll knock it on the head. But unless they say, well, we're having, like, you know, the original kind of like directors that, you know, that made this what it is. George Lucas will have to George Lucas it basically and just say, we need to take this franchise away from you because we don't think that you can carry this on for whatever reason. And if they give it to someone else and say, you've got the property, you've got the characters, you've got the story, you've got the lore, you've got the history, you've got all that sort of stuff that's already been made. All we need you to do now is just take it in a new direction. Whatever that is, that's okay, but you just need to just do something different with it.
Just before we move on, do want to point out that Warner Brothers would not reveal if Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, and other original actors will be returning.
Good.
So
I'd say leave them alone. They've come back. They've done their swan song.
This is another nail in the head, though. Like, if they're not in it, what's the point?
Well, then you go and you do a different Matrix.
But they won't. They'll just remake this without them. So
no, I don't mean you don't make the same movie. I mean you do a different version of the Matrix.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's in the world and it's different characters and stuff, but they'll just find a way. So this new person will be the new one. That's what they'd end up doing.
But that's what I mean. You could do a prequel Matrix. So it's the previous version of Neo's Matrix. And you could have that set in more of a future, or set in more of a past, and you could still have all the sort of like the special effects and the fighting and all that kind of stuff. But then
the failed ones. This week's episode of the PvP podcast is brought to you by our two sponsors, CrowVi and Nomvdic. CrowVi's VF156T 15.6-inch portable touch display is an excellent addition to any setup, whether stationary or on the go. From build quality to the fantastic screen, the included smart case and all the cables, the VF156T is a brilliant portable touchscreen monitor, and for an incredibly affordable price. Whether it's a second screen for your PC or laptop, turning a mobile into a mini PC, or simply using it for gaming, the 15.6-inch IPS display is gorgeous, and the touchscreen works flawlessly to ensure you have a fantastic experience, with clear viewing angles, crisp display, plus it comes with all the connection cables you'll need, as well as a smart case that doubles up as a stand. Check out more via the link in the description. This week's episode of the PvP podcast is brought to you by Nomvdic and their R150 Portable Projector. The R150 is a premium looking and feeling projector, but weighs only 720 grams, and it comes complete with a carry case, so you can safely put it in your bag and take it with you. Plus, the 4800 mAh battery will ensure you can use it on the go. It includes custom speakers made by industry veterans Harman Kardon, and it has its own built-in app store with media apps like Netflix and Disney+. You can also stream your iOS or Android device straight to it, letting you watch content up to 100 inches. Check out our full review at podcastversusplayer.com.
That's exactly it. Like there'd be why isn't this working? This is a paradise. Why is this all falling apart? Even from the machine's point of view, with them trying to say like look at the Animatrix, right? That's good. That is just people with different ideas, all working around the same, ideas. It's what am I trying to say?
I know. I know what you mean.
They've all seen the Matrix. And they said, you can make your own art style, you do your own thing, and, you create a thing for this universe.
Yeah.
So some of them, they've done it around, how the robot rebellion started, like how, the sort of the AI takeover and how all that kind of thing came. And then you've got, someone like other things that tie directly into the movies, like specific characters and what they were doing and that kind of stuff. That is more interesting than just, and here's Neo again.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't want.
You did a really good job of having a trilogy. He becomes Jesus. He sacrifices himself for peace. Then he's dead.
Yeah.
Now you've gone. Yeah, but what if he wasn't? And what if he was depressed?
Well, that's effectively what it is, and they are expecting people to go, "Oh, thank God, he's not dead." But then
and he made the Matrix.
Yeah, no, don't like it. Anyway, Dan, my last bit of movie news. Sam Raimi, everyone's favourite, has said he wants to direct Secret Wars.
Okay.
I'm not.
You're allowed.
No.
You're allowed, Sam Raimi. With the state of things as they're going at the moment, one of the last decent things that we had was Multiverse of Madness and No Way Home.
I still think Guardians. I mean, he had no hand in No Way Home.
No, not No Way Home.
The only thing he had,
I'm talking generally speaking.
Just
like,
in
the
general.
only ones of recent release is Doctor Strange and Spider-Man.
Guardians.
But yeah, Guardians probably as well. But to be fair, at that point, that's the third in a row. Like they know what they're doing with those guys, and they nailed it. But everything else is kind of just sort of like, eh. So I'd rather they go, you did really well. We want you to do sort of more wacky Bruce Campbell stuff. Have another crack at it, sure. I mean, he's not going to be the new Russo brothers. But
he also made Darkman. So.
Darkman's good.
Is it Avengers good?
Liam Neeson screaming in someone's face. Absolutely, it's good.
I think he made the first Amazing Spider-Man as well.
No, he made the first Spider-Man. Sam Raimi. He
made
the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yeah, but I'm sure he had a hand in the first Amazing Spider-Man.
Really?
Yeah. I'm 90.
Let
me have a look. I'm 98% sure on that. Amazing Spider-Man. What did he do? He definitely had something to do with it. Scream Social. It was directed by Mark Webb. No, he isn't. He hasn't. Sorry, I don't know where I got that from. I tell a lie. I tell a big stinking lie. But he did make Spider-Man 3. So.
True, but it's the curse of the trilogy, though, isn't it?
It is. And studio interference and everything else.
Exactly. But everyone gets involved.
If this was I don't know how to phrase it, but if this was a solo adventure, I'd be more up for it. But I don't think he'd be able to tie in all the stuff that's going to be needed to be tied in. This is a Russo affair for me.
I don't know, because like Multiverse of Madness, you still had a lot of different characters that had never been in that universe before that all popped up.
They had no multiverses though.
Well, there was 2.
They did that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But
no one knows.
They didn't. But do you know what I mean? Though, like, I think Sam Raimi's good for the like Spider-Man, like where it's just telling a tale about this person that happens to have branching characters, not telling a story. He might do a real good job. Can't say.
Rather than just another unknown that kind of comes in. Like he's come in, he's done one, he's experienced in general anyway in terms of movie making. And I don't dislike that film at all. I really like it. So to have him come in and just sort of do like not an Infinity War level Secret Wars, but like oh my god, that was actually really good. I enjoyed that. That's all I'm hoping for these days with the MCU, because it's not good, is it, Callum?
I mean, it's not great. It's not shit.
We're getting there,
but it's not DC. So
no, that's true.
But that might not be the case for much longer. Obviously, James Gunn taking the helm and got some promising things on the horizon.
Superman Legacy, is it?
No, it's just called Superman now. They released a picture of the suit. Like a close-up of the chest.
I was going to say, I think I saw a close-up of the S, yeah.
And they've changed, like that day was when they changed it from that just to Superman.
Well, isn't Nicholas Hoult Lex Luthor? He
is. He was on the Mr. Rosenbaum's Insider You podcast.
Was he?
A few episodes ago, yeah.
Why have they not got Michael Rosenbaum to come back and do some stuff?
Well, there's a funny thing on it. Like, I assume, obviously, at some point you'll listen to it because I know you listen to that podcast. But
I do. He does some really, really interesting interviews.
There's a funny bit in it where he's like, obviously, Nicholas Hoult is obviously he's saying to I was going to say he was saying to Lex, but he's saying to him, like, obviously because I grew up watching Smallville, you're my Lex Luthor.
That's pretty true, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like, it's not Gene Hackman. It's not. It's not Kevin Spacey. Boo, Kevin Spacey. There's the guy from 2.5 Men who's the Lex Luthor in Supergirl, or
Charlie Sheen.
No, the other one.
What? Alan?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
I don't see him as a Lex
in...
Luthor. That's crazy.
Let me see if I can find you a little picture. I haven't watched Supergirl enough, like far enough along.
I've seen like 3 episodes, so I couldn't say. But why?
It's like, because I'm pretty sure he gets the suit, like the not like the enormous
mech suit,
giant robot suit, but like an actual mech suit. Yeah,
like the Iron Man suit.
It, like the green and purple and that sort of stuff.
Why are you looking for that? He's saying because there's a poster behind him. That Gene Hackman signed, and he's like, but like, read what it says, and he was like, to the second best Lex Luthor. Well, yeah, it's a good episode though. It's well worth watching. But he's shaving his head and everything, so he's going whole hog.
I mean, good, frankly. Like, well, I mean, Jesse Eisenberg. That's the other one I was trying to think of. But no, that's the point. It's like the fact that it took that long to bloody remember it means that it's.
I did forget
not
all about that one.
John Cryer, Lex Luthor.
That's crazy. Him. Is he all right, or?
I think I've seen like one sort of like clip of him just screaming at someone, and I was just sort of like, oh, okay.
Is he?
Apparently, he's Lex Luthor in Arrow and The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow as well. So it makes sense that he's the.
I don't remember Lex Luthor showing up in any of them. But it could have been
those.
Could have been after we stopped watching. It's definitely.
Well, it would have been Crisis on Infinite Earths, wouldn't it? Because there's no reason that Lex Luthor would have been with Oliver Queen in the Arrowverse. There's no super people in that, was there? It was only after the. It was only after the Flashpoint thing, wasn't it?
I don't know, because they just class them as metas, weren't they? So the meta, like Star Labs and that.
Yeah, but there was but there wasn't a Superman. So if there's no Superman, there's no Lex Luthor, is there?
I mean, there'll still be a Lex Luthor, but he might not be as full evil as with his he's good counterpart, isn't he? Like it's his foil. But I would assume like he's still like a shrewd businessman going about bullying people.
Potentially, I mean, maybe there was like a Luthor Corp, Lex Corp. Business or something like that, or there's usually like a Luthor. There's like 4 Luthors that are in Supergirl before he shows up. Anyway, I'm trying to find. I'm sure I've seen him in the.
I just can't see him as Lex Luthor. Like, obviously, he's just like the weedy guy in 2.5 Men.
He's pretty. Yeah, he's pretty. He does look the part. I'll give him that. I haven't seen him actually play it, like I say, so I can't really go like, oh my god, he's the one.
That's crazy. Doesn't look like him though.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I'm just looking at him now.
Yeah, I was trying to. I'm sure that there's a bit where he's in a suit.
The picture that I'm looking at, he's got a massive head.
Well, that's the thing. Like once he's shaved it all off, like you've got to have a beard, otherwise you are just a giant face, aren't you? Yeah,
it's just like a big egg. Egg Helms.
Egg Helms. No, I can't find him with a suit. So maybe I've imagined that, but I could have sworn that I saw it.
I have got a picture of him in the suit, but I don't know if it's real.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I can't trust anything on the bloody internet these days, can you?
It is unlikely. It looks very Power Ranger-esque if it is.
Yeah, cause that's what I mean. It's not like a huge, like Hulkbuster level giant suit. It's just. Oh, you sent me a thing. No, that is legit. Yeah. Oh, that does look a bit gross, actually.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've only seen it from like the shoulders down. I don't like that.
There is one with the helmet as well. Like
either way, Yeah. I can't knock his performance. I can't say anything about his performance as Lex because I haven't seen him. But either way, even if I had, I think you're probably right. I think Rosenbaum would probably be, like, if I was thinking Lex Luthor, that's probably the first person that would pop to brain.
He's always at the top of the list. But that is down to, like, he did stand up comedy for a little bit after Smallville and stuff, and
no way.
I've not followed him all through the years, but since the rise of social media, he's always been somebody that I followed, whether it's on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. So he's not really left my the idea of him being Lex Luthor has never really left me. Gene Hackman's obviously would have been one of my first, would have been the first Lex Luthor, but I think Rosenbaum was an excellent Lex Luthor. I think he's a really good actor. I think he looked the part, and he could pull off the full bald head. And there's a particular scene in an episode of Smallville, I can't remember what it is, but he gets two guns, and he's holding, when he grabs them, his arms crossed. I was like, he'd be a really good hitman. But yeah, I think he's really good. I don't think he'll ever come back in any form to do it, unless it was like a Crisis on Infinite Earth crossover thing where
I'm sure they would have probably asked him. I mean, they got Tom Welling back, didn't they?
Yeah. Again, he's been on Inside of You numerous times, so I assume he was asked and he's declined. Maybe, I don't know.
Or, as neither of us have watched it, he was asked and he is in it.
Who knows?
No idea.
No
one ever watched it.
I don't think Tom Welling watched it.
They just put him in a flannel shirt, filmed him for a couple of days, and said, we'll stick it in there somewhere.
The question is, though, Dan, do you think that Nicholas Hoult will be a better Lex Luthor than he is a Beast?
Yes.
100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely will do.
He's a real bad Beast.
I do want to say, have you seen Renfield yet, by the way?
Yeah, I watched it ages ago.
Yeah, he's really good in Renfield.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
He is, and like him in The Menu and him in Renfield kind of turned me around on it a little bit, because I was just sort of like, I think I was just sort of like, you're not Kelsey Grammer, so stop being stop being in things that Kelsey Grammer was in first, because you're not that good, so shut up. But watching him in Renfield, I was like, you're kind of funny in this. Like, you're holding your own against Nick Cage. Like, not many people could do that. That's really good.
Very few people could do that.
Yeah. So I've just never seen him as a bad guy, though.
Nah.
And I don't think he'd do like a sort of like a neurotic, twitchy Jesse Eisenberg sort of like.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, but is he scary enough to sort of like stare down a Superman and just be like, "You're the worst"?
This is again why my biggest negative without seeing the film. Like, this is basically going to be Smallville the movie, effectively.
Fingers crossed, mate.
But.
Because I don't want another. It's Zod again. It's Brainiac in the first film.
They've already said it's focusing on a young Superman getting accustomed to his powers and being on Earth.
Yeah, just let him do. Like, let's see stopping some general crimes, and he doesn't really know. He's a bit clumsy. He's flying too fast, and he punches someone through a wall and really hurts them. It's like shit. Okay, I need to pull my punches.
I need to dial this back a bit more. Like, and
yeah, exactly.
I mean, that'd be really interesting, but. I can see he'd definitely lose, but if Tom Welling and Rosenbaum squared off in Smallville and go, Lex is a pretty scary guy. I don't see that.
He's got all of his secret plans and he's fucking around kryptonite. You don't really know exactly what he knows, but does he know everything? That's
the beauty of it. I don't know whether that was how it was written or whether that's just how he played it, but. He's the only Lex Luthor where you don't know if he's being genuine. You don't know what he knows. You don't know if he's got any contingency plans or anything like that. He's Lex Luthor, and none of the other ones, like Gene Hackman and everyone else included, none of the other ones had that. I suppose the animated series did, but fundamentally you go, this is a bad guy, because he was the bad guy in it. But I don't know whether Nicholas Hoult will be believable in that same level of Lex Luthor. Could be completely wrong, but
Maybe I just can't see him as like I don't. Again, it depends. Like Lex is something that's in the Joker in that same kind of vein. Is like it depends on who writes him. He can be a very cold, calculated businessman, very shrewd, or he can be a kryptonite steroid injecting maniac. Who wants to just destroy the world and everyone in it. And it depends on what kind of. Do they want him to be like screaming Kevin Spacey, wrong? Like do they want him doing that? Or is he a far more, he's far more shrewd, and he doesn't need to be like, again, that the Jesse Eisenberg one was kind of that, but with the weird sort of like he's literally insane.
I think if you took that out, he'd be good.
I agree, and I think if you just sort of like, he's just like, well, I found out who your mom is, and you can threaten me as much as you want to, but unless you do exactly what I say, she's going to get a fucking flamethrower.
Yeah,
right in the jacksie. That's what's going to happen. And then he has to turn to Batman and be like, apparently, for some reason, I can't do two things at once. I can't. I mean, even though you could technically throw him off the top of that building and fly to where your mom is and smash through there and kill everyone in that room because you're a killer, and rescue your mom and take her back to Smallville and then catch him before he hits the ground.
Yeah.
You're Superman. You can definitely do that. But apparently you can't do that, so you need to get Batman's help or whatever. Sure, that makes somewhat more sense than what they kind of did with it.
We wouldn't have got the warehouse scene.
You would have. It would have just been... and everyone would have just been paced against the walls.
Which arguably could be as good.
No, I'd agree. I want to see an Injustice. Do that. Rather than the paragon of good, I want to see the Injustice one. I want to see the Dark Side Superman.
Well, that's what we would have seen if they'd have done the dystopian horror future thing.
And that was the most interesting. It was like, what is that going to be? And then, actually, should we just knock it all on the head and do a really terrible Flash movie? I'd
have rather all of the Snyder movies was just that sequence, and then it end like the last one was like all of the films are just based within that universe, and then the last one ends with the scene from thingy where Bruce wakes up after he's had the dream, and he's like, oh god, and then
I can't believe that almost happened.
Yeah. Like, I'd be fine with it. It's a real fucking shitty ending, but I'd be okay with it because then it explains all the things and go, oh.
Well, it would wrap it up rather than just being like in a big empty hole, which is what it is now.
So as long as they don't let that happen, everything's gravy.
Because I'm assuming that they're going to have to do the so have you seen Aquaman 2 yet?
I still haven't. No.
Me either. So. The last one I watched, I think, was Shazam,
I've watched the first one twice, if that counts.
No. But that means that there's the... I mean, Peacemaker is probably the last thing that I saw that was sort of canonical in terms of this is whereabouts we're up to in time.
And that had the Justice League in it.
Well, a couple of them.
Silhouettes and shit.
But that means that either Aquaman 2 has to wrap the entire DC universe up and go, well, Batman died, and then Wonder Woman died, and Superman died, but I've got my brother, and the world is saved, or something. Because, obviously, Joker, nothing to do with it. Yeah. The Batman, nothing to do with it. Joker 2, which I think we get the trailer for in, 9 days, I think it is, or it's the 9th of April. I think we get the first trailer, so quite looking forward to that. The Batman 2, which, again, will be nothing to do with it.
Nope. Penguin,
but that's a part of the Batman thing. But that means that this Superman, whatever you want to call it, that is unlikely to be related to Joker or Batman. That will be its own thing.
It's its own thing.
Which means that there's no definitive end to what we've seen so far. It's just stopped.
I suppose depending on how Aquaman ends. I don't know.
But that's what I mean. There could be something where they set up a new thing, or they're tying it in, or the new guy Superman arrives. I have literally no idea. The Suicide Squad as well. I'd rather that they get Robert Pattinson's Batman with that Suicide Squad. That juxtaposition would be amazing.
I don't know. I don't reckon Pattinson would sign on for that. I reckon the reason that he said yes to it is because it is this contained thing. It's nothing to do with any of these big showy fancy.
No, I want John Cena in pants and a helmet dancing around him, and him just going, "Oh, I hate this. I hate everything about this."
I think it'd be really funny, but I really
just
don't
watching
want to
him
see
just pummel the fuck out of someone, and they're like, "Oh my god, bloody hell, you're serious, aren't you?" Jeez.
Well, I mean, in that respect, but that's a good example though of the young Superman, where this Batman, like Pattinson's Batman's still learning, and like he's done things that he not necessarily regrets, but looking back,
he's loving every minute of it.
No,
There's not
but
a single thing where he was like, shouldn't have gone as hard on that guy as I did.
No. But there'll be
should have broken his collarbone as well.
There'll be certain bits in it where, and you could tie this back to vaguely like Snyder's ramblings on the Joe Rogan podcast last month or something, where his reasoning for why the Batman no killing rule is stupid, and like I do agree with what he's saying. I just didn't agree with the way that he did it. But all of the Batmans have killed, every single one of them.
Apart from Robert Pattinson's Batman, I don't think he killed anyone, did he?
I'm including like Batmobile crashes and explosions and everything else. So like indirect deaths. And
indirect
and Pattinson's I'm not sure of. I'll be very honest.
Yeah, maybe he's in the presence of, or him being involved leads to someone being killed. But does he outright put a bomb in someone's trousers and kick him in a hole? No. Does he set them on fire? No.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah. Does he machine gun a whole car of dudes? No. Like, he seems to he beats them very badly, and he'll throw you off I mean, like, potentially, like, some of the Joker henchmen, the Riddler henchmen, sort of, like, doing sniping and stuff like that. But the majority of them, like, he's tying them up and then whipping them off the edge, and they're just all sort of
dangle.
Just hung there.
Yeah. And
so
I'd say he's probably the only one that hasn't, maybe.
He's also the only one that really seems to be shown to helping anybody.
Yeah. I mean, especially, the ending's a massive thingy of that.
But there's no sort of like, not again, sort of like stopping muggings or whatever. He's got the Batmobile. Like, he's above street crime.
Yeah, yeah.
But you just never, like, he's always it's him taking out bad guys, but it's never just doing what they should be doing with the Superman, which is just talking someone off a ledge.
Yeah.
Which is, just giving someone a shoulder to cry on, giving someone an outlet that they could just vent at,
Yeah, like, that's something that there's not many Batman in any medium. They don't really touch on that, especially in video games. I don't want it because I'm not playing a Batman game for that. But like, Batman's a hero in lots of different ways, in ways that Superman can't be. Like, Superman is above like petty street crimes and stuff. He still obviously does what he can, but he is going to be off doing things in space and all around the world and everything else. And that, it's not a good film. But the Brandon Routh Superman, I think the opening of that film is one of the best Superman openers.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, with the plane and...
Yeah. The bullet stopping in his eye and stuff, and
like him just sort of like doing
the world.
Superman stuff. That's probably... Yeah, that's a really good shout, actually. I didn't even think of that. But, like, in the sort of like the Christopher Reeves films. But it's the 70s, it's the 80s,
Yeah.
They don't have the budget to fly in space. When they do, it looks awful. I'm talking Superman 4, obviously. Yeah. But, like, he is saving cats out of trees, and he is, like, doing general, haha, stop, thief.
Yeah.
He's doing all of that. But with modern audiences, if you had a new Superman film, after what we've seen in, like, Man of Steel and, the Justice League films and all that, zipping around and smashing through buildings and blowing up planets and whatever, and it's just him... sort of like, I don't know if this cape really works on me. Just sort of, and then it's just sort of like, how do I like in Homecoming, like Spider-Man, where he's just sort of like, you better stop that, activate intimidating voice, because he doesn't really know what he's doing yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Does he play the hard man, and does he sort of like dangle someone off a bridge and be like, stop doing crimes, or does he? Why are you doing this? Like, is there anything I can do to help? Oh, your family's starving. I can try and sort you out. Like, what do you need? Like, that is always what I picture, rather than just, oh, here's Lex Luthor in a fucking kryptonite suit again.
Not again.
Here's Metallo again. Like, actually, no. Do you know what? I'd like to see Metallo in live action. That'd be a good one.
Have we ever had a Metallo in live action?
Only in Smallville.
That's the only one I can think of.
Presumably, he's been in Supergirl. I'm not sure if he's been in like Lois and Clark.
Did you finish that?
I didn't. No, I genuinely meant to.
Because you was quite frequent with it, wasn't you?
Yeah, I do need to get back into it, to be fair, because it was better than I thought it was going to be. But I am excited for this new Superman, because if anything, I just want to see, is this going to be a more light-hearted, not like Shazam where it's like, hey, jokes, kids and whatever. But it's going to be like, not everything's serious. It's okay. We can have a bit of a laugh and a joke without forcing it at the end, like, ha ha ha, oh my god, the world nearly ended. Oh, credits.
I think it'll be like a less gross Suicide. I mean, it's Gunn, so there's going to be comedy in it. He can't not. But maybe it's not. Maybe Superman isn't. Maybe he's the straight man in it, and it's the other people that bring the comedy to it. Kind of like.
Although I would like
Jimmy Olsen.
I would like to see him like knocking on someone's door, and then they roll down the window, and he goes, "Get out of the fucking car." He's got an F-bomb in one of them. All he has to do is he just does it the other way around. So instead of someone getting in a car, someone getting out of a car, and you're like, "Ha, Guardians."
This way though, I mean, it's his call. He's the CEO now, so
yeah. We either go super serious and F-bomb it all up, or it's wacky shenanigans.
That was really funny. I'll give him props for that.
Yeah.
It was very funny.
It really is.
But I'm looking forward to it. I'm apprehensive, as always, with anything DC movie related. Very big potential to be a bag of shit, but hopefully not. However, with Gunn's track record, like Suicide Squad was really good. The James Gunn Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad, yeah.
I really enjoyed that. Peacemaker,
yeah,
I really enjoyed. Guardians, I really enjoyed. So he's got a pretty good track record in the superhero comic book movie genre. How well he does that and controls the DC movie enterprise, TV shows, and everything else.
Maybe that's why it's more sensible that he just goes, everything that's come out so far, it's done.
I'm pretty sure that is what he said.
And that's what I agree with. I mean, again, it's sort of, when you're a cinema goer, it's just sort of like, so we've just given up on all of that, haven't we? So I didn't need to watch any of those. That doesn't count for anything.
So why do we need to watch all of these?
Kinda, yeah. But it would be easier to just go, fuck it, just bin them, knock it all on the head. We've got the Joker thing, that's doing really well on its own. We've got the Batman, that's doing really well on its own. I'll start a brand new thing, and we won't try and think of a way. Okay, there's magic and it's a different suit. Just go, no, fuck all of that. We're starting again, and I'll bloody show you how it's done.
I don't think it helps that he said he'd like Margot Robbie to come back as Harley or a different character.
Stop banging on about fucking Harley Quinn.
I think potentially Jason Momoa and oh my god, I forgot her name. Wonder Woman. Gal
Gadot.
Yes, and her as well. It's like, if you bring about like 40% as the original cast, so
don't bother.
Just start afresh.
Do Plastic Man. Like, go. We can make this a visually spectacular. Guy, a guy who can turn himself into anything. Who's an absolute wanker, but he's incredibly useful. And get Zatanna in there, so you got some magic, and get a Green Lantern in for once.
Yeah, just any. Pick one.
So you do a new Superman. He's going to be your linchpin, and then you build all these other characters. So you get Red Tornado and get the Titans. Maybe get a Cyborg. Like, well, maybe they've done Cyborg a bit too much, but maybe Green Arrow. Someone that's more grounded, and speedy or whatever. And he's like, maybe I need to get
problem with Teen Titans is though that means we've already got an established Batman with an established Robin.
No, that's what I mean. Like, it's that wouldn't work unless you've got Batman in that. In which case, like, I can't see Robert Pattinson's Batman having a Robin. What kind of fucking psychopath child would that be?
But even if he did, how young's that kid gonna be like?
But that's the thing. You'd have to play it right then, and it would have to be like a 12-year-old.
Yeah, it'd have to be like the appropriate age gap between Batman and Robin. And Pattinson's what? I know he's like our age in real life, but this is year one Batman, so he's going to be like 20s.
Late 20s.
Yeah. So, so Robin would have to be like between 8 and 12. So.
But that would be really good, because then rather it's just sort of like, it's all like, haha, Robin, quips and whatever.
What if they got Jacob from Twilight? Like Chris O'Donnell was like 30 when Batman and Robin came out. Yeah. But they just get the guy who played Jacob in Twilight to do it.
Oh, so you've got some sort of tenuous link?
Yeah.
Like, well, you're technically the same age, but you're supposed to be 12, sure. But I reckon if you did that and you just had him as like you could still have him with like his circus background, but he's more like an MMA fighter, so he's like he's street brawling kind of. He's that sort of level of threat.
Maybe,
so kind of like with the the Robin in Titans, when he's still Robin and he's wailing on people, like that ferocity in like a kid would be fucking weird to see. But I reckon that would be like, oh, this Robin's not dicking around. Like this is a Robin that you want to see a bit more of. Yeah.
The only downside to that is how they'd have to be real careful how they did it, because they've still got to keep those elements of, assuming it would be Dick Grayson. Like Dick Grayson was always the level-headed one of the Robins, and the next best thing to Batman by the end. But obviously the anger, and there's we've already got a Robin that's got that anger in them. And
true, but if he starts to see too much of himself, then that's when he has his own awakening. It's like, you're a kid, you shouldn't be this angry. Like it's him trying to pull him up to his level rather than leaving him where he was.
Yeah.
I think you could absolutely do that.
I think it'd be really good.
And do it well.
Who would you have? Any up-and-coming kid actors you think could do a good job?
It's a good question. Not that spring to mind.
About Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle. What's he doing these days?
He'll be about 43 at this point.
Yeah, but I bet he looks the same age.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if there's any sort of like big shows with, serious kid actors that could pull something like that off.
Also, just completely, totally random. I was watching Modern Family yesterday, and Kelsey Grammer was popped up in it. Just because we mentioned Kelsey Grammer earlier. He's Cameron's ex.
I don't remember that.
Oh, he's. I mean, obviously you finished Modern Family, haven't you? So you will have seen it. But
for sure.
Cameron's got a pig that he's he's meant to be cooking, so he's fucked it up somehow. So they do use this delivery service that will bring this other pig over, and he recognises the voice, and he's like, "This is the guy." Like he left him, like just disappeared and didn't say anything. And then when the guy shows up, it's Kelsey Grammer. I was like, "Fucking hell, you dirty dog!"
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
no way.
It was good. I mean, it was a funny episode, but
well, like I was watching it the other day, and one of Mitchell's exes was in it. It's Fred Armisen.
Yeah.
Because that's like Steve Merchant's in that episode as well.
He's in the that's at the hotel place, isn't it?
The casino.
And he thinks Phil's wife is the big dog thing.
It's just like in the bath. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
That's a really good impression as well.
Thank you.
I know when he's put it in the closet. And then Gloria comes out of it and like, wow.
Oh yeah, because Patton Oswalt's there as well. It's like, oh my god, what an incredible trick! Like that episode as a bottle episode, like because it's like a Scooby Doo. They just keep going into each other's
people
rooms
like go close the door, someone else comes out.
Oh, it's so funny. Honestly, that is such a good fucking episode. That is.
There's loads of really good. Like, it's a reasonably older one, but it's the one when Cameron thinks Phil's sexy. Because it's like he's had like he nearly crashed in the car, and then Phil's just getting really assertive and like doing all the things that he wants to do, and then they're going to get, I think it's the washing machine for Mitchell and Cameron, and like, he's got his shirt off and he's like trying to like lugging it onto the thing. It's just, I don't know why, but everything, how that episode sets up is just so well written, so funny. Loads of good ones though. I'm on because I still, even though I made you watch it, I've still never finished Modern Family. Like,
I can't believe that.
Honestly, I mean, I've got to.
I'm on a second full rewatch at the moment.
Well, I was watching it just at a sync here and there and everywhere when it was like back when it used to like be on weekly on Sky One or whatever, and then just started watching it again randomly. Started watching it again randomly. Stopped, and then Zoe was already watching it, and I was just catching episodes here and there, and then obviously you were down, and we watched it. And then because you started watching it, I went back to the beginning and just started watching it again. And then stopped for whatever reason, but I didn't go back. I've just carried on. So I think I've got like 2 seasons left. I'm at ones now but I'm only now getting to ones where I've never seen before.
Right.
So it's still funny for me that way, but it's such a funny, well-written show. I mean, there's so many, might have to cut some of this bit, but like when they're out for dinner, and everything Cam says upsets someone. Now, I'm not going to go into what's his, but like, they are such good jokes. I don't think you could get away in a show now if it just started, like, because some of them are reasonably offensive, but it's so well written.
I'm gay. No, you're not.
Yeah, you're confused.
You're confused. You're like, no, sorry, no.
I hear it now. I hear it.
It's so good.
So if everyone just went back to where they came from, then everyone would be happier. So good. Like, but Zoe says every time Cam does something like overly gay, she's like, it's hard to believe that in real life Mitchell is gay not. And he's not.
Like, yeah, it's crazy.
He's such a good gay person. Well, honestly, it's such a good show. And again, it's another example of good child actors where all of the kids...
They've literally grown up.
I mean, they have. I mean, Lily changed some point in. It's a different person. Like, when they first get Lily, it's a different girl altogether. Right. And obviously, they kept the same one after. But Phil and Claire's kids have obviously started it, and Manny. And they were good then, and obviously they've just gotten better as actors as the seasons have gone on. Lily's got... I think Lily's always had really good delivery, even like when she first started speaking. Really?
I fucking hate her.
Really?
I think she is the worst part of that fucking show.
Oh, man.
Every line, while some of them are funny, it's like, yeah, you've just told a kid to say that. Like, it's not. There's nothing natural about it. And even and again, I'm not going to say she's a terrible actor because she's a kid. But even when she's sort of like in her teenage years, or when she's surpassing the point of like when the other kids,
I haven't got there yet.
When they first started, it's just like you're not to their level. And I know that you kind of grown up as a kid, and you've probably been forced into this by your parents or whatever. But nothing. Like, there's no sort of like, oh my god, she's so funny, isn't she? Like, she's not.
No, I mean, like, that's like, that level's reserved for Phil and for Cam and the better actors of the show.
I'll tell you what, one of the things that I noticed the other day, that there's so much sort of like physical, like slapstick that goes on in it, that I don't think, like, a lot of it just doesn't seem intentional, or it didn't seem planned. Like, there's a bit where
probably not.
Like Luke is like, he has to make like a device that you can drop an egg from a single story and it'll survive, and he drops it and it lands on Claire's head and she goes down to the floor so fucking hard, and it's not like a cut and then she's on the floor. Like, she just goes bang, and then like the camera just pans down and she's just sort of covered in egg, just like, for fuck's sake. And like, she's like, I've seen her like slide downstairs and stuff. So either like, and Phil does the same a lot as well, where he goes down like onto the floor like real hard, and it's like either they've choreographed this and they've worked it so well that it looks like they're like really going down to the floor hard.
Yeah.
Or they weren't meant to. That's just what happened.
And they just kept it in, yeah.
Yeah, or they're like trained stunt performers, I guess, and just be like, they know how to fall over properly. But some of it just looks so fucking good. Like when they just like slip over a thing and go down hard. It's just like, I kind of just believe that you just legit fell over then. Like probably really hurt yourself.
I can't imagine Modern Family is. I could be way wrong here, but I can't imagine it's a show where they've got stunt performers because they don't do anything out of everyday life stuff,
racing or whatever.
No. So like the odds are, if they've gone down and it looks dead believable, they probably did fall.
I think you're probably right because it looks, but then they just keep playing to it as well.
Yeah,
like I say, or they're just very 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 skilled at it, and they can take the hit and they can get back up and it'd still be funny without going, oh fuck, I think I broke my leg.
I do. Look, I think Phil should be in more things though.
What's his name? Ty Burrell.
Ty Burrell. Yeah, he is honestly, in the MCU, but very minor role.
Oh yeah, isn't he?
He's in the Incredible Hulk.
He's fucking Betty's.
Yeah.
New fella or whatever.
Yeah, the new boyfriend. Yeah.
I think the only other thing I've seen him in other than that is when he's the Nazi in that Key and Peele sketch.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Like he's really fucking funny in that, and there's some really good outtakes of that sketch as well with him.
I've not seen the outtakes, but I think he's just a naturally very funny person. But he might be in shitloads of stuff that I've just never seen. But
you're probably right. He could be in like a bunch of like American sitcom-y stuff. But I'll tell you what, he would have fucking shone in The Office.
He'd have been
like,
a good
his kind of like
addition, yeah.
Like reactions to camera and stuff like that. I reckon he would have fucking crushed.
Would you have had him as a Michael Scott or as
no?
He's not.
He's not a. No, he would have been a good sort of like Kevin.
Yeah.
Sort of like a bit of a bumbling idiot, like a lovable bumbling idiot. He would have been good at that.
How about what if we have him as like the new Doctor Doom?
No. Because I'd be expecting him to just crack a joke every 20 seconds or so. Tell you what he would work as though, like a good Herman Munster.
Didn't we have Didn't we have a remake of the Munsters?
Well, no, there was a Rob Zombie one that looked absolute dog shit.
I'm sure we did.
No, it was a remake, but it was Rob Zombie. And I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was panned.
I mean, it makes sense.
4.5 stars out of 10 for... it's on Rotten Tomatoes, I think. No, on Rotten Tomatoes, on IMDb.
The original came out in 1964.
Yikes.
Yeah, Rob Zombie, yeah, he was. That is the one I was thinking of, but I didn't know it was Rob Zombie.
Yeah, because his missus plays... what's her name? What's his wife's name?
Lily.
Lily, yeah, I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah, Lily.
It looked like a sort of a fan film. It looked dire. But that's IMDb gave it 4.5. I was trying to find a.
This is out of 10.
Tomatoes thing.
This out of 10.
Yeah.
Ugh. That looks really bad. I've never watched it, so I can't comment.
So the originals have got 83 and 90% because they are really kind of cool.
Yeah.
I do remember watching them as
I used to watch
it
all of the time. My granddad used to watch the Munsters and like MASH and all that kind of stuff. And for a long time, I couldn't tell you what was the Munsters and what was the Addams Family. Because I was like, it's the same fucking thing.
Basically the same thing.
You just swapped out the type of monsters that they are.
The new one has got 53 and 35. Oof. So, poo.
Not great. But I see what you mean. I think he would make a good, not necessarily
like with
that character.
Well, even just in sort of like a Phil just sort of like, he's kind of quirky and silly. But you put the big head on him and the green paint, I reckon he'd nail it.
As far as they haven't done an Addams Family or Monsters episode of like a Halloween one.
Well, they usually do. Those are the ones that I'm not super keen on because again, it's sort of like it all feels so real. But then it's just like it's Claire, and then it's like a hand that comes out of it, and all the children scream and run away, and it's just like fuck off. Like kids these days, you see a bit of fake blood, you know that it's not real. Like they're
especially
way
on
too
Halloween
tough for that. Yeah.
If it was just Wednesday,
do it at a
like,
parent-teacher conference.
Yeah,
yeah, brilliant.
Then you're gonna freak out. But it's like when people like, I don't get why people do April Fool's pranks because it's April 1st. I know you're going to pull a prank, so I'm not going to be surprised.
It depends though. Like usually, whenever someone gets me like first thing in the morning, like so if I saw that Nintendo Virtual Boy thing, like if I woke up and I was on Instagram, it's like Virtual Boy 2 or Virtual Boy for the Switch, I'd be like, "What? Fuck you now! Why would you do that?" It wouldn't click until my brain started properly. And some people, Callum, are just stupid.
They are. I mean, to be honest, and in all fairness, like that's a perfect example of it because of how well it was put together. It wasn't just some rando shouting out on the street. But I've gone on Instagram or whatever, and I'm like, huh. And I saw it, and I've literally gone, that's April 1st today. And obviously everything else, but I feel it's pointless now. It's better in the old days where you'd get Nintendo Power magazine and it'd be like, this is how you unlock Luigi in Super Mario 64.
Because there's no way of checking as to whether that's true. And when you went to school and was just like, oh, I've got this thing, and you'd get someone who just go, yeah,
I've done it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I had a mate whose uncle had a chip that let his Dreamcast play PlayStation 2 games. I'm like, it's different architecture, mate. Like, that's not how it works. He goes, yeah, he's definitely done it. I'm sure he has.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Check on the internet? On the what now?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the internet existed then. I just didn't have it. But I could have used my Dreamcast to have to go on the web. But that was the beauty of not having access to that sort of stuff. You do that now, and while they're talking, you just go, "Nah, you're lying." But you can't do that anymore, and that was where the beauty of April Fool's stuff was for me.
I'd say that if you did it as a part of a block release, so if you said we're doing a Virtual Boy for the Switch, we're doing Animal Crossing 3, and we're doing
Luigi's Mansion 4,
new batch, and you're going, so one of them's not real, or all of them aren't real, or all of them are real. And that's that would get you every time then, because then you'd have to find confirmation one way or the other. Or
it'd be like you'd have all these different ones, because loads of people could do stuff like that where you go, we're going to do a new season of Firefly, and then there's a fucking riot because it's an April Fool's. But that'd be more entertaining for me personally. Like there's loads of shit game ones that come up every year. I think you could have some fun ones, but I just don't see the point. Especially someone like you, because by the time it's seeped into your brain, it's past 12 o'clock, so the pranks have stopped, and then you're going, wait a minute, it's April 1st today. I'm not going to believe anything.
Yeah, I don't know, because I mean, like when I'm at work and stuff like that, I'm so distracted with work stuff that you could tell me literally anything, and I'd be like, fucking hell, no way. Like that when company what was it content wars or whatever it's called, this thing that you was
content warning,
if you'd said that to me and like, oh, this thing's free, and you sent that to me on April the 1st, I wouldn't have checked and gone, oh, fuck off. April Fools. I wouldn't have.
I'm going to open this link and it's going to steal all my bank details.
I just went, oh, cool, I'll have a look when I get back. Because I wouldn't be thinking, wait a minute, what's he up to?
Yeah. I mean, that seems like a really lame prank that I would pull on you. Look, this game's free, and then you open up and go, it's not. I go, April Fool.
Gotcha.
You got to pay £25.
It's like, no.
Did you buy it? No. Prank didn't work then. But they say that there's a lot of funny things that can be done, but for the best one this year was the Nintendo one, and it wasn't one where I've gone, I wish that was real. Just gone, that's a really funny video.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most that they're going to settle with these days. Anyway, I don't know if you've got anything else that you want to ramble on about, Dan, but I'm all out, mate. I got nothing.
As am I.
If you want to see more things, you can go to the website. Everything's going along the bottom of the screen, but it's podcastversusplayer.com. Thanks, Dan.
Yep.
Thank you. And we'll see you all on the next one. Bye.